Today on StockCharts In Focus, I am thrilled to announce the latest product release site-wide. We've got new features in every corner of the StockCharts platform. Most importantly, our brand new SharpCharts Workbench. This is the next generation of our classic charting tool. It's here, it is out, it is available for you. We are going to take a quick tour of it on today's show. Huge new release. This is one you absolutely got to see. So it's all new. It's all here. It's StockCharts In Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, StockCharts In Focus. Of course, our product focus show here on the channel where we dig into the site, dive into those tools, walk through those features, and ultimately help you get more value out of StockCharts. That's our mission here every Friday up on the channel. My name is Grayson Rose, Director of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Really is a thrilling week. I am so excited to be sitting down with you guys today to talk about some of these new features that we've just rolled out as part of our latest site-wide product launch. Now, if you've been with us for the last couple of years, you've seen us do some of these product launches every couple of months. We've got new tools, new features, new enhancements to the site. Of course, stability improvements, bug fixes, all of that good stuff as well. The site just keeps getting better and better and better. Behind the scenes, the platform of StockCharts.com continues to grow. And so we've just launched across really every corner of the site new tools, new features, new enhancements to your trading and investing and charting workflows. So thrilled to share it with you today. Of course, as we've done in those previous product launches, we put together some helpful release notes, as we call them. A page that helps you see everything that's there, learn a little bit more about those tools and features that have just launched, and gives you quick access to each and every one. So today, we're going to take a look at how to find that What's New page, how to review all of those new tools and features that have just launched, and then we are going to jump over to the SharpCharts Workbench. We're going to take a quick tour of some of the things that have launched over there. You might know we've been doing kind of a beta launch for that platform as it's rolled out over the last couple of months. So you might have seen sort of where we're going with the next generation of that SharpCharts Workbench, but we've got new things that just rolled out on that page now, and we've made it more available for you to start using as a replacement for that old Workbench. So very exciting stuff. Let's jump over to the site and get it going. So the best place to start today's show is going to be on our Charts and Tools page. Of course, top left corner of any page around the StockCharts website, you can get to this directory of pretty much everything that is on the StockCharts platform. Now, you are going to see a whole bunch of green new labels sprinkled throughout this page. First and foremost, right up here, our SharpCharts card. This is going to allow you to get to the new SharpCharts Workbench. So type in a symbol right in here, hit go. You'll be off to the races with that new Workbench. We'll also have a way to get there from that release notes page that we're going to take a look at in a second. So we'll show you that as well. But if you do want to get to the new SharpCharts page, you've got this box right here. Type in any symbol, you can get there. Or on the right side of this page, we've got kind of the quick access links that give you access to any of those tools when you sort of know where you're going, where you're trying to get to. So also a SharpCharts link right there. As I scroll down this page, again, you're going to see all of these different new labels. These are going to kind of indicate the things that have changed, the things that are new, the things that have been added to the site. So of course, we've got our MarketCarpets tool as well. A high-level view lets you kind of scan entire groups of symbols. Very, very cool. You'll see over here on the right, we've got a new index members page, one of my favorite features from this new release. So we'll take a look at that. New things added to our sample chart gallery and the sample scan library. We've also got those new labels on those features as well. But the reason that we're kind of scrolling through here is that when you get down all the way to the bottom, there is a card that says what's new around StockCharts. That is where we're going to head today. So of course, the Charts and Tools page gives you access to some of these new features. Don't forget about that. Come here, you can browse everything that is new and get to any of the other features around StockCharts. But down at the bottom, that's where we're heading, that what's new page. So give that a click, and that's going to take you over to our what's new page. By the way, you can also get here by going to StockCharts.com/new if you want to jump there right away in kind of one shot. So as I scroll down here, you'll see that we've got a big old card for that new winter product release that just launched. You can see some of those little preview images. This will give you sort of the high level, the Cliffs Notes, I guess, high level overview of kind of what has been added. But for the real star of the show, for the meat and potatoes here, hit that big blue button or click that title right there. That'll take you right over to the release notes for that new launch. So we are really kicking off the new year with a bang here with this new product launch. Now, it's probably not the biggest product launch that we've ever done in terms of the number of new features and things like that. But I got to say, this probably is one of the most important updates to stock charts in maybe over a decade. Maybe the launch of ACP was a close contender. But the launch of the new SharpCharts Workbench, one of the biggest things that we've done in quite some time. This has been a monumental effort behind the scenes by the StockCharts team. And it is really only the beginning. That's the most exciting part. So that new SharpCharts Workbench, it is out there now. You can choose to use it. If you do prefer the old Workbench, the old kind of charting tool, that's not going anywhere at the moment. So rest assured, you will be able to continue using that current page. But I think as soon as you see this thing in action, which we'll do in just a couple of minutes, you are going to want to jump over to that new SharpCharts Workbench. The charts are the same, the indicators are the same, all of the things that you do with your charts, the way that you annotate them and save them, all those capabilities are still there, but there are new features, new functionality, new things that you can do, and it really is, like I said, only the beginning. So we're going to keep adding new tools and features, bringing you more resources right there in the platform. Again, we're going to see that right now, or in just a couple of minutes. But if you do want to, you can read up on some of the things that are here with the new SharpCharts Workbench, and if you do want to jump right over to there, we'll show you some of the other ways to get there as well, but hit that See More button. So we'll save that for the end. We'll come back to that new SharpCharts Workbench, but it's here, it is out. You can see some of those very cool features in this little animation that the team has put together. Interactive things like being able to resize your charts simply by dragging them. Choosing the size that you want. You've also got down there at the bottom, as you can see in that little animation, tons and tons of sample charts to choose from. So if you're looking for a great way to get up and running with stock charts, or you're looking for some new ideas, new strategies, new sort of setups and new ways to see the markets, the sample charts that we've built right in there are very, very cool. So again, we'll save that for the next couple of minutes. We'll jump back over to that new Workbench very, very soon. But take a look at that. Next up in this big release is our new MarketCarpet tool, another one that we previewed over the last couple of months as we've been building this, but a total redesign for the MarketCarpet tool. So what MarketCarpets are, basically heat maps of different groups. We've got tons of new groups added to this tool, very, very exciting things there, but a lot of new functionality as well. Faster data refreshes, the thing will actually refresh for you automatically as the market is open. You've got tons of new metrics to measure by, new features like hovering over each box will give you a little mini chart, and then you can quickly jump over to the symbol summary page just by double clicking on any box there. And the biggest addition really is just the new groups, the new visual, the sort of enhanced visuals there for the MarketCarpet. And most excitingly, it works beautifully across all of your different devices. So you've actually got a full screen mode. You can put the thing into full screen mode, take over as much space on the screen. But if you're on a tablet, if you're on a phone, any device, the new MarketCarpet will work very, very well. The MarketCarpets are a fantastic way to start at that high level of the market and really kind of drill down into different groups. So you can start at something like the S&P 500, which in this little visual is actually kind of what you're looking at there. We'll zoom in here so you can kind of see that a little bit better. You can start with something like the S&P 500 organized by sectors, see what's happening at that level, and then you're actually able to drill into any of these sectors by double clicking on the name. So some very cool interactive features there for that MarketCarpet tool. It really is a great thing to pull up every day to kind of see where the strength is, see where the weakness is on any given day out there in the market. So that new MarketCarpet tool, very, very cool. Excited to have that. Again, for any of these features, hit that See More button down at the bottom. That'll take you right over to that new tool. I mentioned the new index members page. This is one of my favorites from this new release. Gives you a high-level summary of a ton of different groups out there in the market. There's a theme here, right, with some of these different groups. If you want to research S&P 500 stocks or see what the Dow stocks are doing, maybe research the NASDAQ 100, or if you want to drill into specific sectors, you want to look at financial stocks exclusively or healthcare or industrials, this is what this new index members page is designed to do. So I'll zoom in on this one as well. We'll sort of blow that up as you can see. What this page allows you to to do is select any index from the options that we have up here, and it'll give you a huge wall of data. You can sort by any of these different fields. If you want to sort by market cap or performance or position against some of the key moving averages, RSI, things like that, volume. So, again, you can pull up the S&P 500, sort by market cap to see the largest, or flip that and see the smallest stocks out there in the S&P 500. Lots and lots of different things that you can do with this page, but it is a great way to review some of those key groups out there in the market. Again, things like the S&P 500, small caps in the S&P 600, some of those tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 names, things like that. As with all of our data table pages as well, you can always hover over any of the symbols in that table to actually get a quick little mini chart. You can click the name to get a full-size chart, and you've also got this little menu that you can open up on the left side of the screen that gives you access to some of the other charting tools. So very, very cool. Now, one of the other things that we've actually done with these summary pages, the market summary, sector summary, industry summary, scooter reports, different things like that, some of those tools that people access a lot. We've actually sort of linked them at the top here, so you can sort of see that in there. When you jump over to any one of those pages, let's say you jump over to the sector summary page, you'll actually be able to get to the market summary or the industry summary or this new index members page in just one click. So we've put those little tabs across there to make it a lot easier to navigate through some of these pages, especially if you're jumping to something like the earnings calendar. I find that I like to review some of these high-level names like the S&P 500 stocks or the Dow, but I also want to see, especially at a time like this, what's happening this week in terms of earnings reports, who is about to report, who has reported. So being able to kind of navigate through some of these pages, much, much easier with this new release. Very excited to have that out. But that index members page, I think you're going to find that is a very, very helpful one from this new release. Next up, I gotta say, this is another one of my favorite features. There's a lot of my favorite features here in this new release, but we have enhanced the scan results page with charts built directly into it. So if you are a scanner, if you've used our scanning tools in the past, you might know that when you run a scan, you get a data table back that's got all of the results in there. And if you want to kind of start to chart those different names, see what's actually happening with them, you generally had to save that to a chart list. This changes that. So with this new addition, you've actually got a couple of different tabs. We'll do our little zoom trick again. You got a couple of different tabs across the top when you run a scan. You've got the summary tab, which is where you're going to start. But if you want to see full-size sharp charts for any of the results that come back with any of your scans, you've got a SharpCharts tab built in right there. You've also got a candle glance tab. So at a quick glance, you can see all of the different stocks that have come back, or other symbols that have come back with any of your scans. I love this. I think it is a fantastic way to review those scans. Scanning, a big part of my process, actually, especially for things like this, new all-time highs and something like the S&P 1500. You guys know that if you've been following this show. So being able to see those charts right away when you run one of these scans, very, very helpful. Thrilled that the team was able to bring that enhancement to the scan results page. So definitely check that out. If you hit the See More button here, you'll be taken over to our scan workbench. You can quickly run any of the scans that you have in your account, and you will see those new tabs for Sharp Charts and Candle Glance right there at the top of the page. Next up, we've got two enhancements for scanning and alerting. You can now scan for relative strength, and you can also scan for earnings dates. You can put in specific earnings dates, see who is reporting on any of those specific dates, either next reporting or has reported in the past. You've got last earnings dates and next earnings dates built in there right now. You also have those, of course, on your Sharp Charts now. You've got those up in the full quote. Very cool little addition that we added recently. So scanning and alerting for earnings dates, very, very cool. The other one, though, that is huge, especially for someone like me who uses relative strength on all of my charts. I like to benchmark anything that I'm looking at against VTI. That is the Vanguard Total Index, represents the total U.S. stock market. A lot of people like to use their the SPY as the benchmark for anything that they're charting. Well, if relative strength is part of your process, you can now scan or set alerts for relative strength. So if we zoom in here, you've got a new price relative indicator built into the scanning workbench. So you can type in any symbol that you want to set as a benchmark and actually scan for that. So over a period of time, see price relative to SPY is greater than 0, greater than 1, something like that. This allows you to really narrow in on just the stocks that are outperforming the benchmark that you care about. So if you want to find things that are outperforming the S&P 500, outperforming the total US stock market like VTI, you can now do that with relative strength built into your scans, that new price relative indicator. Very, very excited to have that. We are also going to be adding a number of predefined scans, sample scans, for some of these relative strength metrics. So if you're kind of new to scanning and that's a little bit intimidating, don't worry. We are going to be enhancing our sample scan library with some relative strength scans that you'll be able to run in just one click without having to write any of that syntax. Very, very excited to bring that to you very soon. So some of these new scanning and alerting features between the results and some of the new functionality that you have in the scan engine, super, super cool. Very excited about that. Next up, we've got a couple of ACP features for all you users of that interactive dynamic advanced charting platform. If you're an options trader, you have something to celebrate here. We built the options chain right into ACP. So at the bottom of the platform here, as you can see as I zoom in, we've got a new options tab right there in ACP, right in between your chart list and the sector summary. Allows you to see options quotes for anything that you're charting. If you're looking at Apple and you want to know what the Friday, January 26th expirations look like, you can actually pull that up really, really quickly. So mimics kind of our standalone options tool that we've had for a little bit of time here. You've got two views in here, the straddle view, which is going to put puts and calls in one view for you. And then you've also got list view, which is going to separate calls and puts out into two separate tables. But you got that menu to choose your expiration date. You can also toggle all of the columns or just kind of the basic ones. You've got that control in there as well, just like our standalone options page. And then finally, you do have a strike range slider. So it actually gives you a lot of control over what you see in the table. If you only want to see the contracts with strikes between 80 and 180, as we have in this little demo here, you can drag those little sliders around to narrow in on just contracts that kind of fit the options that you want to trade. So very excited to have that right in ACP built into the bottom. Of course, you can move that drawer up and down. You can maximize it to take over the entire screen, see as much of the options data as you want. But that's going to follow along with you as you're charting. So if you're looking at Apple and then you jump over to a chart of MSFT or NVIDIA, whatever you're charting, that options page will kind of follow along with you, show you the contracts for anything that you have up on the main chart above. So very excited to have options data built right into ACP. Next up, a very cool little addition, small but mighty. This is one of those things that we sort of threw in at the end of the release cycle. This was one of those things that we all do as traders, as investors. We probably do it with a scratch pad off on the side. Maybe you got a spreadsheet that you use to do these kinds of things. But we were looking at ACP and I said, we should have these calculators built right into the platform. It would be so nice to just be able to plug in a couple numbers as you're looking at a chart and set up a trade that you want to put on without having to do any of the math yourself, without having to have your notepad off on the side. So we've added two new trade calculators to ACP. There are two things that we all do as traders, as investors, right? We've got to figure out how big of a position we want to put on for any new trade. And then, of course, we've got to manage our risk. We've got to set our stops, make sure that we're setting our stop losses at good levels. So now in ACP, you've got this little calculator icon over on the right side of the platform. When you hit that, that's going to pull open the trade calculators drawer, and you can choose between either one of those different trade calculators. First up, position sizing. This will allow you to type in a total value of your account and then enter whatever percentage allocation of that total you want to put towards a specific trade. So in this demo, let's say you had a $100,000 account. You want to put 5% towards a new trade that you want to put on. Maybe it's something like Apple. And then you've got your entry price. What's your ideal entry? Where are you actually getting into that trade? Well, you're trying to figure out how many shares you can buy, right, for that entry price and for that sort of portfolio allocation. This will spit that out for you just by filling in this form. So total account value, percentage allocation, and then what's your target entry price. Hit that big green button. This will tell you exactly how many shares you can buy of that stock. Or ETF, whatever the security is. So the position sizing calculator, Very, very cool. We've also got a second calculator, which is not in this screenshot, but we've got a stop losses calculator that'll do something very, very similar. Set your cost basis, set your stop loss percentage, whether it's 5, 8, 10, 12, whatever your stop percentage is, and it'll tell you exactly where your stop should be. So you don't actually have to figure out, okay, if I want a 10% stop loss and my entry price was this, I can do the math to figure it out. Now, just go ahead, type in the numbers in that stop loss calculator. It'll spit out exactly what your stop losses should be. So one of those little streamlining features, streamlining your trading workflow, small but mighty is the way I like to describe that one. Really does add a lot for your process as you're going there. You don't have to worry about calculating those things. If you're charting an ACP and you got your brokerage open on the side, you can just type into to those trade calculators to figure out exactly what position you want to put on or set your stops at the right level. One thing that I'm really liking, especially about that stop losses calculator, the ability to see the charts right there next to that kind of calculated stop loss. So if you you've got a horizontal line maybe drawn across at your cost basis, and you type into the calculator that you want a 10% stop loss, you'll see where that level is, and then you can sort of adjust it, right, depending on the chart. So if you want a 10% stop loss, but you see that there's maybe a little bit more support for that stop at about a 10.5% stop, it's easy to kind of figure out those levels and then set your stops according to the way that the price action has actually been moving. So some of these things like that we'll actually dig into over the coming couple weeks. We'll highlight some more of these features as we go to make sure that you see everything that is out there. So we'll come back to some of those ACP features in a future episode of Stock Charts in Focus, but all of those high level big hitter features are out there now around the StockCharts platform. Of course, those are just the big ones though. So we've got other things we've also added to ACP, into SharpCharts, into our chart galleries and sample scan libraries. Lots and lots of things happening around the rest of the site as well. 4 new technical indicators that we've added to ACP. I'm thrilled to have the price relative indicator in there. Again, similar to what we talked about with scans, lets you set a benchmark, and then anything that you're charting will have a price performance line, basically. So a percentage performance line against that benchmark. Lets you quickly see, is this outperforming my benchmark? Is this underperforming my benchmark? And what's the scale of the outperformance or the underperformance? Because that indicator is going to be in percentage terms, you can actually compare across symbols that you are charting. Very excited to have that price relative indicator. That'll definitely be one that we highlight on a future episode of this show. We've also added 2 new indicators from Alex Spiraglu, an award-winning technician, the MACD and the MACD histogram, kind of a volatility adjusted take on the MACD, traditional MACD indicator. So very excited to have that. And then the Gopalakrishnan Range Index, another indicator created actually by our director of site content, Jayanthi Gopalakrishnan. So excited to have that in ACP as well. I mentioned this earlier, earnings dates now in the full quote for SharpCharts. So if you do want to see earnings dates right on your SharpCharts, you can do that by turning on the full quote. And then, of course, as we hinted at earlier, we've expanded our sample chart gallery with tons and tons of new sample charts that you can take a look at. And in just a moment, we'll show you how to actually access those right from the new SharpCharts Workbench. Same thing with some sample scans. We've actually added new sample scans to the library. Lots and lots of new scans that you can run there with no lift, no effort. Just hit the big green button to start scanning. You don't have to write any of that syntax or do anything. That sample scan library makes it very easy to start scanning. So definitely check that out, especially if you're looking for a good way to get up and running with scanning. And then a couple of other additions across the rest of the site. Again, I mentioned the navigation across summary pages, and we've also got a new notifications link in the little drop-down menu from the top of any page around StockCharts. So tons and tons of good stuff that has just rolled out across the StockCharts platform. Again, all intended to help you get more value out of the tools and features that we have across StockCharts. So in our last couple of minutes, we're going to do another episode really digging into this, but I do want to highlight some of the things that you can find on that new SharpCharts Workbench. I'm going to hit that See More button, and that'll jump us right over to the new Workbench. So excited to have this here. This has been a long time coming, but you've probably seen us demo some of these different things over the last couple of months. Again, we put this out there kind of as a beta release to show you guys what we were working on, get your thoughts, get your feedback, get your input and that has been tremendously helpful. So the workbench has really evolved over the last couple of months, and I am just thrilled with where this thing is at. So we'll do a quick tour, and I'll highlight along the way some of the new features that you should definitely take a look at. So right across the top of the page, of course, all of your sort of basic chart setup stuff. Enter a symbol, choose your chart type, choose your chart range, choose your chart period, all of that good stuff. One cool thing though is this settings menu that drops down. So if you want to adjust some of the key settings, choose between log and arithmetic scale, choose your candle fill, different things like that. You can choose whether or not you want dividends adjusted for or not. Lots of stuff there. The full quote also in that menu as well. So some of those kind of basic chart attributes that you might want to modify when you first come here, those are available in this handy little menu right up at the top of the screen. Of course, if you want to add indicators and overlays, really get into more heavy customization for your charts, all you got to do is scroll down, similar to the current workbench, similar to the outgoing one. But to the chart settings area, chart settings panel down at the bottom, that'll allow you to set up your overlays, set up your indicators, really kind of set up your charts with all of the different features that you want. Now, all of the things in here are actually going to update automatically, so you don't have to hit this update button. If you do, it'll simply scroll you back up at the top. But we've added a couple of helpful buttons down at the bottom here as well. So if you want to save any of these settings as a chart style, as a chart template that you can come back to in the future, you can do that right from the new workbench down here at the bottom. And if you've set up a chart and you want that to be your default, if you're a StockCharts member, you want that to be your default chart, you can also set this as your default. All of the settings in here, you can sort of wrap those up, package them up, and set it as your default chart in just one click from down at the bottom. So nice to have that in there. Other features like the inspector, the auto refresh, you can turn those on or turn those off. The inspector will give you those little crosshairs, and then auto refresh, of course, if the market is open, it'll keep refreshing your chart without you having to refresh the page. Nice to have those in there. One final little chart customization that we mentioned earlier. So you can look for this little black dot at the bottom, and you can actually click and drag to resize your charts to be anything that you want. So depending on the screen size, you can actually move your charts around to really kind of fit there. So a nice little interactive feature that we brought to SharpCharts. Very cool to have that. You can really start to customize your charts, and especially if you're on different device sizes, maybe you're on a laptop and a tablet and then down to a mobile device, a phone, this is a great feature to have. So definitely look for that. It's also kind of a fun one to play around with, so definitely check that out. Now, speaking of different device sizes, one of the big enhancements to this page is that it is going to be responsive, as we call it. So no matter what device you are on, the workbench is going to look great for you. Everything is going to be optimized to fit on whatever screen you are on. One thing that you're going to want to note, though, if you are using SharpCharts on some of those smaller screens, you actually have a choice in this Workbench Preferences menu for kind of how you want your charts handled. Now, let's say you have a 1600 pixel wide chart like me, and then suddenly you want to load it on a phone. Well, you got two choices. Do we scrunch that chart down to fit on the screen, or do we leave it in its natural size so you can sort of scroll around and see things a little bit larger on the screen? That's what this auto size charts feature is intended to do. So if you're on a smaller device, especially a tablet or a phone, definitely remember this auto size charts feature. That'll make sure that your charts fit onto the screen without kind of going off the right edge. If you do like that full size chart though, you can always turn that off for those smaller devices, and your charts will be left at their kind of natural size. In here, you've also got the ability to either center align your charts on the screen, or if you like that classic look, you can keep them left aligned against that left edge. So a couple of options in there as well. Now, by the way, you can right click on your charts to open up this handy little menu for saving your charts, adding a new chart style, even accessing the annotation menu, or saving that image. You can also create alerts directly from the new workbench. Very cool feature, especially as you're going through, maybe looking at things in your portfolio, or new watch list items, new trade targets. You want to be notified if something crosses a specific price. This is a handy little feature that we've added to the new workbench. You can also look for that create alert button down at the bottom to access that. A couple other features at the top of the page. You can access all of your chart styles, speaking of those, from that little blue menu right there. You can save new chart styles from here as well, but everything above here is going to be one of your style buttons. One of the most important features of the SharpCharts experience. If you're not a StockCharts member, this truly is one of the key reasons to sign up. in addition to being able to save these charts, save these chart templates and have those collections of settings right there for you, you can also basically bookmark any of the sort of go-to chart templates, the go-to chart styles, and they'll be visible over on the left edge of the screen. So we'll show you that in just a second. But you've got access to all of your chart styles in this menu here. Anything that you choose to set as a style button will be above that line. So you can quickly see basically your favorites, your go-tos, the key chart styles from your account, and then everything else down below. Now, speaking of those style buttons, we've added some very, very powerful new features. I am thrilled with this. You can already see I'm taking advantage of a couple of them. I've got a whole bunch of different chart styles from my account that I like to use. Here is my default. I call this my level 1 chart, but I like to kind of add in layers of indicators is kind of how I call them. So as I go from level 1 all the way up to level 4, this is going to be a much more complex chart that brings in a whole bunch of other indicators. What we've got here, though, as you can see, to organize these style buttons, make them easier to see, make them easier to access, easier to remember where you've assigned what, you can actually color these and you can label them. So if you right click on any of these style buttons, you'll see that you have a whole bunch of different settings. In addition to choosing the position and the chart style that's assigned to any of those buttons, you also have a 2-character label that you can add to any of your style buttons, and you can give them a color so you can actually start to differentiate them. So what I have here is all of my daily styles. I've got 5 of those right up at the top. Those are the most important ones for me. Then I have 2 weekly styles. I call them my level 2 weekly styles. So I've got a 7.5-year weekly chart here and then a 15-year weekly chart right there. Quick access to all of these. I can get at them in just one click. Really, really nice to have. I've also got an ETF style, so I've labeled that with EW for ETF weekly. And then I've got some intraday styles here. This is a 5-day chart, has the volume weighted average price on there. Really, really short-term look at some intraday price action. And then I've got a little bit of a long-term intraday look. That's a 75-day intraday chart. So as you can see, you can actually label these style buttons now, which is a huge, huge addition to SharpCharts. The other big addition is that we've got our saving UI across the top right here. So you've got access to all of your chart lists. You can actually jump to any of the chart list views with this new menu that we've added right here. Allows you to quickly get to summary view or chart list view or symbol summary view, any of those favorites that you have. And then all of your saved charts within as well. So access to your chart lists and all of your saved charts right up here at the top. Of course, if you want to save any chart to any of the lists in your account, you've got that big green button right up at the top. Now, wrapping up our little quick tour here, we've got some other panels down below your charts. So the one that I want to highlight really briefly is our chart style library. Again, I mentioned that we've expanded our chart style library with a whole bunch of new sample charts that you can quickly access. That's what this chart style library is intended to do. Up in the top left corner of it, you've got all of these different libraries that you can choose from. If you want to model your approach after someone like Larry Williams or David Keller or John Murphy, you can choose that experts library to see any of the charts that our expert contributors have set up for themselves. You've got different time frames in here. You've got different trading strategies in here. Things like trend analysis versus volume and money flow and momentum. Relative strength at the end there, one of my favorites. And of course, the starter, we've got a whole bunch of popular chart styles. Now, to access any of these couldn't be easier. All you have to do is give them a click and it'll load right up there for you. So this is a fantastic way to get started with StockCharts. If you're looking for an easy way to enhance your charting on the platform, enhance your SharpCharts experience, you don't have to worry about setting up every single chart for yourself. You can come down here, browse these chart style libraries. It makes it very, very easy to find new charts that you might want to bring into your process. You also have access at the very top to your chart styles. So here are all of the chart styles for my account. I can access those either as a grid, sort of that visual grid, or if you know where you're going, you want to put them in list view, you can also look at that list view to see those in here as well. You can give any of these a click to sort of preview that right over on the side, and then if you want to apply that, you just hit apply and that'll pull it right into the SharpCharts Workbench. And as you can see, it'll also kind of bring you back up the page. You don't have to worry about scrolling around quite as much. Now we've added a whole bunch of other panels, and when I say that it's just the beginning for the new SharpCharts Workbench, this is really what I mean. So we're going to continue to expand and enhance the SharpCharts Workbench with scans and symbol summary, seasonality charts. We've got huge plans for where the new SharpCharts Workbench is going. Right now, though, you do have access to your chart list. This is a view that's also going to expand with more data in this panel, but you have access to all of your chart lists down here at the bottom as well. You can make chart comments, leave chart comments for any of your saved charts right down here. And just like we had with that chart style library, you also have a chart list library. So if you want to open up any of your chart lists in this kind of grid view or in that list view, you can do that as well. This is a great way to kind of scan a list of stocks, find the ones that kind of look nice, and then give those a click. And again, it'll just pull that right into the workbench. We've got alerts built in here as well. Speaking of that create alert button, so you do have access to all of your price alerts. You can see those right in here. You can also see all of your advanced alerts and even the predefined alerts that have triggered for you behind the scenes, some of the ones that we keep track of here at StockCharts. Just like we had with the ACP options page, you also have the full options chain down here at the bottom as well. So you've got access to your sharp charts and the full options chain. If you're an options trader, this is a big boost for the sharp charts experience. We've got historical price data down here as well. And as you can see, we've left one coming soon feature in here because the symbol summary going to be coming soon in addition to a whole bunch of other panel views. So the goal basically is to make the SharpCharts Workbench really kind of a one-stop shop that's got everything you need right in this page. You've got your charts, you've got your lists, you'll be able to run scans, see the symbol summary for your research, even things like seasonality charts. The list goes on, and like I said, only the beginning for the new SharpCharts experience. So very thrilled with what we've done here, bringing this out, getting it into your hands. Very exciting stuff. Now, you might feel like this is a lot. I totally understand. So I do want to point you to one final thing before we wrap up. Down here in the bottom right corner, look for that little help menu, and there is a take a tour option. So you can actually give that a click. That'll take you on sort of an interactive tour of the new workbench. As you can see, it'll sort of click you around to different parts of the page to remind you what's there, why it matters, why you need to see it, those kinds of things. You can go back and forward, or if you want to jump out of that tour, you can always hit end. So definitely take that tour if you're looking for a great way to get started with that new SharpCharts Workbench. And by the way, some of these other menus also pop up. So if you want to get access to some of those other tools around the site, you've got that in the More Tools menu. And if you want to share your charts, you've got that in that menu here as well. So big enhancements coming to SharpCharts. Long time coming, but so thrilled to bring a new experience, new generation of tools and features to the SharpCharts experience. Big stuff happening here at StockCharts.com. So I want to thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Again, big week here, releasing so many things across every corner of the StockCharts platform. Speaking of the StockCharts platform, a lot of the things that we're talking about are members-only features. You've got to be a member to take advantage of these things. So if you're not currently a StockCharts member, remember, we got that free 1-month trial. This is the time to sign up, explore some of these new enhancements, run scans better. You got more power for scanning. You got new features in ACP. You got tons of new features for SharpCharts, even new things like the MarketCarpets, and it really is only the beginning. We are going to continue bringing new enhancements to the platform, new things throughout this year. So if you're not currently a member, remember to sign up, check out that free 1-month trial at StockCharts.com. Also, if you're here on YouTube, remember, hit that subscribe button down below to follow more content from us. Give this video a like, that really helps us out. And leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you got any questions, drop it down below. We're happy to help, happy to answer any questions that you do have. Again, I want to thank you for joining me on the show today. Great to be with you. We'll be back soon for another episode of StockCharts In Focus, our product focused show, digging into tools and features, ultimately helping you get more value out of StockCharts. That's our mission here. But great to be with you for another episode this week, highlighting some of those big new changes across the StockCharts platform. My name is Grayson Rose, Director of Operations here at StockCharts. I'll see you again soon. But until then, chart on, my friends.